Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay. My name is host Mike Jokum. Joining me today is former IndyCar driver and current TransAm driver, Rafa Matos. Rafa, how are you and how's everything going right now?
Hello, Mike. How are you? How's everybody doing? Good.
Making the best of quarantine as much as I can. So, where are you? Where are you hunkering down right now during this quarantine?
Yeah, Mike. I live in Florida. I've been living here since I moved from Brazil way back in 2003. I moved to Florida, and I never really lived anywhere else. I've been here this whole time. Right now, I live in Boca Raton, which is like 30 minutes away from Miami, farther north, which is a more of a quiet place. Yeah, it's a very nice place. Very, very good place. I love it.
Yeah, sounds very nice. So let's see, where should I start? Let's start with some TransAm stuff, since that's what you've got currently going on most recently. So you're in the TA2 category, I believe. So for those who aren't familiar with the TransAm series, it does run the same weekend as the Belle Isle Grand Prix with IndyCar, but why don't you just give everybody a little bit of insight as to what the TransAm series is?
Well, TransAm is basically a muscle car series that was created back in the mid-'70s, early '80s, and it was very big back then, with many famous drivers and teams racing it. And now it's under a new ownership with the SVRA management company. It's actually the same company that managed TransAm. So they combine those events. And those events are fantastic. You have the TA2 class, you have the TA class, which are faster than the TA2. They have 800 horsepower. It's a fantastic car. And the TA2 class, it's a tubular frame chassis with a small block Chevy, and they have also the Dodge Hemi engine and also the Fords. So for the muscle car fan, it's a dream those weekends, and I'm extremely happy to be there, because it's a car that really rewards a driver that can really push to the edge. The car doesn't have any traction control or stability control, has no ABS, so it's really up to the driver to maximize the equipment. So I'm having loads of fun there. I can tell you that I've never had so much fun in my career like I'm having TransAm as a driver. The competition it's really stiff, so we have some very good drivers out there and good teams that they have the resources to, have good drivers and really push the envelope on the equipment and that kind of thing. So, this is series doing very well. Obviously, we had this pandemic, so everybody stayed home, and we're coming back racing now by the end of June. So it's a happy time for us now.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So, during this pandemic, are you able to do any simulator work, any iRacing to stay sharp, or just kind of hanging out and staying in shape until the racing season returns?
Well, I kept doing my daily routine of exercising. I usually ride a lot of bicycles. I love cycling, and where I live is perfect for cycling, road bikes or mountain bikes. So I keep doing that. I also run a small karting operation. I do a lot of coaching and that kind of thing. So that keeps me busy. We drive shifter karts, which is they are the fastest go-karts around, four-wheel brakes, 50 plus horsepower. So that thing really keeps you sharp. So I've been doing quite a lot of shifter karting training and in my daily routine. And we had some testing also with the TA2 cars last week at VIR, which was very nice to be back in the race car. And now we're testing next week in MediaOhio, and then we're heading to the race.
I love it. So you actually won the championship your first year in TransAm. I think that was 2018. So what was it like to come into a new series and just immediately win the championship?
Yeah, well, I have to say I had a very good car, a very good team with me, with Mr. Doug Peterson. Had put that team together, invited me to drive his car, the 88 car, and my first try was actually Detroit during the IndyCar Grand Prix, and we nearly won the race. So that was a good sign, and from that on, we made the cars better, and we're always competitive. I think in a period of 2 years, we won 9 races. I think we had like 10 pole positions. So it was a good time. So now I'm with a new team, Silver Hair Racing, which is a fantastic group of guys. They are out of North Carolina, and they gave me the chance to drive the car on the last race last year at Daytona. We nearly won the race, and we've been having some good times now. We finished 3rd at Sebring with basically no testing because we just got the cars back then. So it's very interesting to change teams, but see that completely different organization, but it's working really nicely right now.
So on the new team, what kind of which one of the TA2 cars will you be driving this year?
I drive the number 7 Chevy Camaro, and my teammate and boss Maurice Hull drives the car number 57, also a Chevy Camaro. So we also have two Ford Mustangs. They're kind of sitting on the stable right now, just kind of waiting to see as far as series regulations and that kind of thing. We're trying to maximize everything we have to have the best performance and fight for the championship, obviously.
So you could have one team in TransAm with multiple of the brands of cars is kind of what I'm hearing. Correct.
That's pretty cool. That's the beauty, and that's the beauty of TransAm. So that's I think a plus for this series, definitely.
Yeah, I like it there. So I'm going to go with a non-racing question here, something we do every week with a driver we have on. First would be, we have a Spotify playlist that the driver, each episode we do with a driver gets to add a song to the playlist, something you might listen to before a race or after a race. If you had to pick one song or one artist.
One song, one artist. That's a tough one. And one song, okay. Foo Fighters. The best. You like that one?
Yes, great choice. Anything Foo Fighters is always a good choice.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so that is added to the list. I will actually share that out this weekend now for everybody listening. So with that being said, we'll switch gears here. You won the Indy Lights Championship. You won the Atlantic Championship. Had a couple really good finishes in IndyCar for a few years. So what was your IndyCar experience like driving for guys like Michael Andretti, I believe, and your time in IndyCar?
Oh, it was a great time, and it was a dream come true for me. Coming from Brazil with basically very little money, just enough to kind of survive and start from the very bottom, coming through the ladder, from Skip Barber to Star Mazda and Star Mazda to Atlantics. and Atlantics to Indy Lights, and winning all the championships on my way to IndyCars, and finally making to IndyCars in 2009, and winning the Rookie of the Year title also was big for me there. So I had great memories. With Michael, with Andretti, we won the Indy Lights Championship, and that was my passport to IndyCars. And I raced for Jay Penske, Roger's son, and in the second year he teamed up with Gil de Ferran, and we had a great team. We had a great time. And unfortunately, back in 2008, there was a recession, and the team kind of lost their sponsors, and then I moved on with AFS operation in 2011, and we ran, I believe we ran 5 races. The last race was the Indy 500, and we're kind of counting on qualifying for the race to get the prize and to continue throughout the season. But unfortunately, we were on bump day, and we didn't qualify in 11, and that was my last race in IndyCar. So, a very good starting career, but unfortunately couldn't make the big show in 11, and that was it. But I had a great time and made a lot of good friends, and the experience was fantastic.
Do you still watch any of the IndyCar races when you have the time? And part 2 of that question would be, what do you think of the new aero screen and safety regulations going on in IndyCar?
Yeah, I watched pretty much every race, and I think that was a very good idea. I think was needed, right? The period I raced in IndyCars, it was a short period, 3 years only. But I raced against Justin, I raced against Dan, and I think if those changes were implemented before, maybe they could be saved. So I think that's the right thing to do. I believe obviously some fans don't like it, but I think they will get used to it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. So I was reading an old Auto Week article from, I think, last summer, where you were actually talking about, hey, I do still want to drive an IndyCar again in the future if given the opportunity. So is that still something maybe in 2021 with everything going on this year that you would look to find a way to do something in IndyCar down the line?
Well, I would love to. I don't think I would just jump in a unknown situation, like a car that's not proven fast with a competitive team, because things are very, very competitive there now. So, and I've done it for 3 years. I know what it's about, and I think for me to jump in now would have to be in a competitive car with chances of fighting for race wins, But yeah, definitely.
I love it. So I'm going to go another non-racing question here. This is usually a host Jess question, but since she could not join, I will ask it for her. So if you were to have a dinner party and be able to invite 3 guests, whether they are still with us or not, who would those guests be, and why would you want them?
I think would be Neil Armstrong.
I like it.
Yeah. And what was the second question?
So same question for 3 guys, and kind of what your thought process is to why they would be at your dinner party.
Okay. All right. So Neil Armstrong, and 2 more, right?
Correct.
I think my father, that's no longer here. Maybe Jimi Hendrix.
Ooh, I like all 3 of those.
I like rock and roll.
Yeah. As do I. We've got some good rock and roll additions to the oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button there, to the Spotify playlist, which I'm very excited about. So
that's awesome.
Let's see here. With 2020 being kind of a crazy year, and racing schedules could probably change again. And I don't have the Trans Am's updated schedule in front of me here, but is there one track that you're headed to that you think you stand, this is a sure shot win, or, I can contend for a podium at a minimum?
Yes, I think MediaOhio, this first one we're having by the end of the month. I won there last year, and it's a track that I've won in TransAm. I've won in Indy Lights. I feel very confident. It's a very physical, demanding track, and I think the team is preparing the cars extremely well for this upcoming races. We really have focused our energy in those 3 first races, because they're going to be like back-to-back races, so we have to have a good car, and everything has to work perfectly so we can score as many points as we can. And MediaOhio, I think it's the one I focus right now.
And on the other hand, is there one track that for some reason always seems to give you difficulty in the Trans Am car?
Yeah, yes, I think Indy was a difficult one. I was leading the race by I don't know how many seconds, and I got a drive-through, but we're not racing there. It was canceled, so I don't have to worry about that one.
Luck, I guess you could say luck was on your side in that case this year.
Sure. Yes. For sure.
Although I wish we were racing everywhere this year. So it's a tough situation, but I definitely understand there. So I'm curious. I think you missed the Circuit of the Americas round a couple of years ago, if I'm reading this correctly. Have you gotten to race at that outstanding facility and since then? And will you guys be headed back there this year?
In which facility, Mike?
Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, no, we raced there. I raced there 2 years already in TransAm. And that's a track. That's a very difficult track because the infield is very tight. So in a TransAm car, the vision from inside the car is very limited. So that's, in my opinion, one of the biggest difficulties in that specific track. But the track is fantastic. It's very flowy type of track, kind of European style, with some very hard braking zones. So the car has to be very good set up under braking, and it's a low asphalt grip. So you're always constantly fighting for mechanical grip. So it's a very difficult place, and I'm looking forward to come back for sure.
I love it. Yeah, it's one of my favorite places to visit every year. So I'll wrap up with one more question there. Your last statement got me thinking. So in a muscle car like a Trans Am car, what are some things you can do to set up to gain some of that mechanical grip on a difficult track like Circuit of the Americas?
Well, generally a Trans Am car is a very big car. 300 pounds we have. So your weight distribution has to be spot on. That's the first thing. And the car doesn't have a lot of downforce, virtually none. So all you have is your bars, your shocks, and all those things. And your inputs from inside the car, your steering, your braking, and your throttle. So the car has no electronic help, no ABS, no traction control. Wow. So you basically the car wants to understeer. So you're trying to reduce that period of understeer. So so I don't want to tell all my secrets.
Yep, that's fair.
Let's leave it at that.
So I'll follow up with one more quick question. Are you the type of driver that prefers a little bit of understeer in the car, or is that something you've learned to work with since you've been in the Trans Am series?
Yeah, I don't like a car that's carrying me all the time. So let's put it this way. So if I can apply my style of driving, and I'm not getting loose all the time, most times I will I'll be able to figure it out what the car requires to go fast. But if the car is loose from the get-go, I think that's something we need to fix in the car. So that's basically the first thing that I'm sort of trying to fix.
Makes sense there. I definitely appreciate the answer. So, Rafa, we will wrap it up there. I appreciate your time this, it's the afternoon now. So this afternoon, stay safe and best of luck in your 2020 season. Hopefully I can get out to a TransAm track at some point this year.
Oh yeah, Mike, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for having me in the program. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks. Bye.